Hello students, welcome to the class of food biotechnology. Today we shall study about transgenic fish. Now the fishes are of particular interest to the researchers since many of the fish produce large quantities of eggs. Not only these eggs are being laid externally in the water as when we compare it to the mammals that produces fewer eggs and they produce it internally. So this make it relatively simple to insert novel DNA into the eggs. And also we know that the marine biotechnology or the fishing industry is having a huge market. So this transgenic fish with enhanced quality, growth, resistance to disease, and productivity are mainly taken care of. Not only this, the fish have higher level of genetic variation and hence they have more scopes for selection than most of the mammals or the birds. We shall look into some of the transgenic fishes which has really helped the fishery market, whether it is small fish markets or the bigger markets. For example, this Atlantic salmon, these fishes are quite costly and they are very well known for their taste. But unfortunately, these usually weigh only 20 to 30 grams and they are seasonal. That is, they don't grow very fast also. So what the scientists have done is, using gene transfer technologies, the scientists have now created a genetically engineered variety of Atlantic salmon that grow to a market size in about 18 months. Otherwise, normally to reach the market size, okay, it takes 24 to 30 months for becoming a larger fish. Now, with this genetic engineering, by 18 months, you can see that the fish has grown to a huger size and it is also weighs heavy. And how they have done is they have introduced the growth hormone. Okay. One second. So they have introduced the growth hormone from the Pacific Chicon salmon. Okay, this is also a particular variety of fish. They have taken the growth hormone from this fish and put it into the Atlantic salmon, and we have seen the output. That is, they have increased in size, okay, and they are also bulky. You get it throughout the season. That is, you need not wait for months to get there, like 24 to 30 months. Look at this example of these fishes. Okay, very common picture which you find it. Look at the size of this fish and look at this. Okay, and not only this, other fishes have also been modified. See, this is the wild variety, whereas this is the transgenic variety. So when you compare it with your wild variety siblings, you can see that these fishes are quite lengthy and bulky also. And also you can see the second example is the transgenic Medaka fish, particularly seen in the Japan. So what the scientists have done is they have modified this male Medakas. What they have done, the gene construct from the human growth hormone and the salmon growth promoters have been introduced into this male fish. And they found that only 30% of the transgenic fish survived. Whichever 30% transgenic fishes that survived showed a very good outcome. The larger males had fourfold mating advantages compared to the wild variety. Not only this, they also introduced a gene from the silk moth into the Medaca fish. Sorry, that's a spelling mistake. To create resistance to the bacterial pathogen. So we can see that this is also another advantage. Not only they were able to grow a larger males, male Medaca fish, which had a higher mating advantages, and also they saw to that they were resistant to the pathogen. Thirdly, we'll see another example wherein the antifreeze protein genes have been produced. Now, production of cold-resistant fish variety is useful for establishing aquaculture industry in the temperate region where water gets frozen. So you know that these temperate regions that are the water gets frozen for months together, and then what happens, it is a loss to the fish industries because the fish cannot sustain the cold condition, right? The gene responsible for imparting the cold resistance was cloned from a fish named as winter flounder, which lives in the polar sea. This species avoid freezing of the blood even at -7 degree temperature by producing a set of antifreeze protein. So, as you know, this, as I told that in temperate country, the temperature goes very low. That is, there is a formation of ice. There's no water. Then where will the fish survive? So now what the scientists have done is they have taken this gene from the winter flounder, okay, which can impart cold resistance. That is, these fishes can grow even at the temperature wherein it is -7 degrees centigrade by producing a set of antifreeze proteins which are naturally being produced. So these antifreeze proteins are produced in the liver and they are exported to the blood stream. So when produced at high concentration, this antifreezing protein inhibits the growth of the ice crystal formation in the blood, which helps to protect the fish from freezing. So this is an advantages. So following the discovery of this antifreezing protein has been isolated and efforts are being made for developing cold resistant fish varieties in the particularly in the temperate countries. So this is another very good advantages. I shall repeat again. So these fishes are normal winter flounder fishes which are growing in the polar region. They can grow at -7 degrees centigrade also. What is the background of these fishes? They produce an antifreezing protein. Okay, so they produce an anti-freezing protein. That is why they can survive even at -7 degree centigrade. So this anti-freezing protein, in short, they are known as AFP, are produced in the liver and they are exported to the bloodstream of the fishes. When produced at high concentration, that is like 10 to 20 milligram per ml, this antifreezing protein inhibits the growth of the ice crystals formation in the blood, which helps to protect the fish from the freezing. So, following the discovery of this antifreezing protein, the scientists have isolated these genes and efforts have been made for developing the cold resistant variety fishes even in the temperate countries. Another important property is that you all know that the disease resistance of the fishes, they have very poorly developed antibody dependent immunity. And you can see that when the fishes are being harvested and when they come to the harbor, usually not only when they come to the harbor, when they are harvested from the sea itself, you can see that they are put into ice because easily they are very prone to infection because of the gills which are opened, okay, and the bacteria bacteria or any other pathogens can easily enter. So soon as they harvest the fish from the seas or oceans or whatever may be, you can see that they put it into the ice packs. So this fishes has a poorly developed antibody dependent immunity. The potential rainbow trout lysozyme gene as a bacterial inhibitor has been known now. Okay, so this rainbow trout is a fish which has a lysozyme gene which has an inhibitory property against the bacteria. So now what the scientists have done is they have isolated this lysozyme. Okay, the lysozyme is a non-specific antibacterial enzyme present in the blood and the mucus and kidney of most of the animals. Even we do have the lysozyme. So this rainbow trout contains elevated amount of lysozyme. That is, they have at least 10 to 20 fold higher concentration of the lysozymes present in their body. See, 10 to 20 times more concentration of lysozyme is present in their body. And the rainbow trout, they have two types of lysozyme, of which the type 2 have the significant bacterial activity. So what the scientists have done is they have isolated this type 2 lysozyme. Okay, they have isolated the type 2 lysozyme and they have inserted into what, the Atlantic salmon. Because why particularly the salmon is, as I told you in the starting only, this fish is very costly and it has a very good market potential. So this has shown to be very successful, and now you can see that this particular salmon is free from the most of the bacterial diseases. So tilapia fish, this tilapia fish is a native of Africa and they're cultured worldwide as a per man's food. This transgenic tilapia, which is a modified with pig growth factor, okay, they are modified with pig growth factor, as 3 times larger than their non-transgenic siblings. That means these tilapia fish have been modified. That means the gene from the pig growth hormone has been introduced into this fish. So what has happened? They have grown larger in size when they are compared to the non-transgenic siblings. And also, not only this, the tilapia fish is genetically modified even with the human insulin. Okay, and they grew faster than the non-transgenic sibling and could also serve as a source for the islet cells for the transplantation to human subjects. You know that I let's like let me write it and show to you. So they are able to produce this islets. Okay, this fish, why they're able to produce this islets? Because they are introduced with the human insulin. Therefore, they're able to produce this islet cells, which can be extracted from the fish and can be used for the transplantation into human cells. So you know about the islets of Langerhans which are present in your pancreas, which produces this hormone insulin and glucagon. So for this also it is being used, this tilapia fish. And this is also a super fish, the same thing what we saw, the salmon fish. Look at the size. Okay, the increased growth and size, growth hormone gene inserted into the fertilized egg, and transgenic salmon grows about 10 to 11 times faster than the normal fish. And another one, like most interesting to you all, is the glowfish, okay, which is like an ornamental fish. The glowfish is a patented and a trademark brand of genetically engineered fluorescent fish. A variety of different glowfish are currently there in the market. So zebra fishes were the first glowfish available in the pet stores. And now they are sold in bright red, green, orange, yellow, blue, pink, and purple fluorescent colors. So this tiny zebra fish that lives in the aquarium was genetically modified to produce a fluorescent red pigment of whatever colors I mentioned now. And it is promoted for sale as a household aquarium pet. So this is also called as goldfish and can be seen with the naked eye under the both daylight and ultraviolet light in the dark. And so that imagine the colors, and particularly when you see it in the night times, because these are fluorescent fishes, it really gives a soothing effect, right? So these are some of the transgenic fishes which have been developed by our scientists, so particularly targeting their growth to see that their resistance against the bacteria, they have very good productivity, and also to see that they give a very good yield. And not only that, they give this beautiful glow fishes which we can keep it in the aquarium. Okay, let us just quickly recap what we studied. Okay, one is the glowfish, because it is, and it is was first produced in the zebra fish. These are the fluorescent fishes. And then we saw this tilapia fish, which is known as the poor man's fish of Africa and most of the countries wherein we cannot buy costly fishes, right? But then these fishes can be genetically modified so that, like with the pig, wherein they've induced the pig growth hormone so that it can grow in larger size, have a better flesh. And also we have introduced the genetically modified human insulin into the fish, which can produce the islets. And then we have seen that fishes do have a very poor resistance, okay, poorly developed antibody. But we have seen that our rainbow trout fishes, they have a very good lysosome, particularly the type 2 lysosome, okay, which has 10 to 20 times stronger lysosome compared to all other fishes. Okay, and the gene has been isolated and then it has been transferred into Atlantic salmon, and it has shown a very positive effect that these fishes, once they have been transformed, they are no more infected from the bacteria. And we have seen this wonderful fish, the winter flounder, which survives in the cold countries in the polar sea, wherein the anti-freezing proteins have been isolated and have been transferred genetically into the other fishes, which can withstand the cool condition in the temperate regions. And we have seen also the transgenic medacarp fish, wherein the male fishes were transformed to, wherein they contain the gene construct from the human growth hormone and the salmon growth promoters. So you can see that these fishes grew larger in size and they were had a very good mating advantages, and also they were protected, or they had some resistance against the bacterial pathogen, okay, when introduced the silk moth gene into them. And then we saw that how this specific Shikon salmon, their growth hormone was introduced into the fertilized egg of the Atlantic salmon eggs, and we saw that how these fishes grew to a larger size. That is, we had to wait for almost 2 years, I think, so 24 to 30 months to achieve the market rate. Today, it is available within 18 months. Okay, and these have a huge market. Not only that, we told that these have a very good genetic variant, these fishes. And another advantage is they lay the eggs, okay, externally, and also they produce lots of eggs, which can be very easy for our researchers to do the manipulation.